Welcome to the Illuminati broadcast. I'm your king, David Moore. Welcome. Yes, Ben David means son of David, and that's exactly what I am. My dad's name is David, and my name is David. Hello. Yes, I'm a junior. That's my middle name. It's not a suffix. And my last name is Moreno. So that's, a more rabbi, a greater rabbi, a greater teacher. So like a great high priest, right? Just like Jesus. Okay. All right. So here we go. We got a cool little tabernacle right here, our ephod plate, our Elon. Elon is a scroll with what you do, you hand make it, and this is handmade, so welcome. If I was lucky enough to be in the past when they could grind down minerals and make their own pigments, I would, but here we are. Maybe one day I'll try. Yeah, so we're gonna do this little Illuminati one eye kind of thing. All right, so this is our ephod. Right now I'm watching Yugioh. Can't really see it, I guess, because Tubi is commercializing. I love Tubi. It plays Yu-Gi-Oh. I love Yu-Gi-Oh. I have my fish right here. I could watch him, and he watches me, and we hang out and talk together. Yeah. So in Yu-Gi-Oh, let's talk about two characters: My Valentine and Yugi Moto. They both have purple eyes. They both have this blonde hair, and they both have the same kind of hair. Like hers is just longer, his is shorter, but they both have that wave or that zigzag. And they both have purple eyes. So my theory is that My Valentine is Yugi, but maybe not in the same way that we think, because his puzzle is like a shadow game, right? Like he figures out his puzzle. It takes him through a labyrinth. And I'm sure she might be her own character, but maybe she's him in the future or a different dimension, and she got sucked up there because she doesn't really know her parents. Well, she does, but she didn't spend time with them. But whatever. I mean, it's kind of like a parallel to Yugi's story, right? Like, we don't see his parents. We don't see Mai's parents. Mai wants to win. Yugi wants to win. She wants to be the best duelist. He wants to be the best duelist. He does it through kindness and friendship, and she does it through, like, tenacity and strength and perseverance. But she also knows that she has to use people. She has to use underhanded tactics to win. And she's very confident about it. But so does Yugi. Yugi cheats a lot, too. We know that. But if we notice in one of the duels, after My Valentine gets traumatized by Merrick Ishtar, she's stuck in this time, like this little time capsule, right? So in the water sector in the west, the symbol is time. It's gonna be that hourglass. She gets stuck in that hourglass, and the sand's falling from the top, and it's hitting the bottom. And she's being trapped, right? So she's like trying to express her emotions, and then she notices that Joey and Yugi are walking away from her, and they're just happy. So there's a lot that can go into that, and it's pretty emotional when I look at it now, and I see my life. It's very emotional because it has. You might have issues with transgender people. I don't know, but to me, like, that's part of my life. I'm both. Part boy, part girl. I'm gender fluid. I'm trans at the same time. Two-spirited. It's all the same thing for me. For you, it might be different. You might be like, no, I only identify as female, or only male, or a drag queen, whatever it could be, or you just like to dress up in women's clothes. That's fine. Like, I can do all of that, and I don't have to pick just one. I can keep going between all of them as much as I like. That's what this wheel's about, being able to choose who you want to be. You want to be strong, you can go to Mars. You want to be soft, you can go to you can either go to Venus for intelligence, or you can go to Jupiter or the moon for that softness. Or maybe you want to protect what you love and you go through Jupiter, or you want to be more tough, you go through Mercury. You can go through all those signs. Maybe you want to be a leader, you can go through the sun. So there's just different aspects that you can go through. But with her, she's very straightforward aspect. So when we look at Yugi Moto, he's like frail. He's kind of feminine. He wears a collar. It has that bondage iconography, like bondage symbolism. Like, okay, he's like being choked in this world where he has to fit in. Like Joey, he's strong, he's tough, he does whatever he wants. Tristan, he does everything. They do uber masculine things, and Yugi plays games, and that's kind of feminine and childish. And he's like, well, I like to do boy things, but I also like to do girl things. Like, I like to wear makeup, or I like to do my hair, or I like to dye it. He likes to do different things. And people want him to just be one way. They're like, who is this Yugi boy? Like, how does he get to do whatever he wants? How come he gets to, like, go back and forth between feminine and masculine? How come he can do that? That's like a pharaoh thing. That's what they would teach about pharaohs. They can walk that line of androgyny. They can walk that line of gender bending, right? They could do that kind of stuff. And they would give it to the community and let them know, hey, you can do these things too if that's what you want. And if that's not what you want to just be straightforward in this way or that way, you can do those things. We're all accepted. He would teach those kinds of things. And Jesus too, because Jesus would have long hair and he would look very beautiful. And he's allowed to do that. He's allowed to go back and forth between being a boy and a girl. He's allowed to look the way he wants. He doesn't have to be one way. That's what Jesus taught. He can do a lot of different things. And that's what Jupiter is, right? It's both that masculine energy and that feminine energy. It's right there in the middle between both of them. And then even Mercury is a bit feminine as well, but I guess it would be the more masculine aspect of the moon. That's why Hermes is like hermaphrodite, right? And the moon is Luna. Luna would be cool, but then you'd be crazy, right? Loony. But that's what they think, right? Like, if you're transgender, they think you're crazy because, like, who would want to be transgender? You must be psycho, right? And Yugi is kind of psycho. He uses dark magic. He uses the dark magician. That's his protector. That's like it's that psychotic energy, right? Chaos. And then all right, so we have Yugi. He's walking away with Joey, and she's like, so in a sense, Yugi's looking at his own heart, and he's saying, if I choose to be a woman, I'm gonna be alone and my time's running out and there's not a lot of options for me. I'll never be able to do that. I'll never be able to commit to being a woman, right? Because when you're transgender, you have a choice to commit to being a woman or a man, and then you live your life out that way. But Yugi's like, man, like, I want to do things that boys do and I want to do things that girls do. So he gets stuck and in turmoil and in this inner turmoil. And Joey is also representative of that masculinity, right? But he also has Seto Kaiba, and Seto and Joey are both these like uber masculine aspects, but they do everything they can to be part of Yugi's life. But they also show him that that it's okay to be who he is, that they appreciate who he is. They just want to make sure that he's safe. Like, Joey's like, I don't care who you are, I trust you, Yugi. If you want to be a boy or a girl, it's up to you. Seto, he's like, I wish you would choose to be a boy so that way things could be easier for you, but I know you want to be both, so I know I have to just bring out the best in you and get it out of you so that way you can live your best life. Because Yugi saved Seto's life, Seto saves Yugi's life, right? They save each other's lives. And it can go back to like a romance almost. We know that in Greek mythology that being gay was a important part of like culture, and now that we're older, we see it as a part of our culture that is a romance. It's not just, you know, sexual. But me being a gay person, I've seen it where it is just sexual. People just want sex out of you. But for me, I'm like, I want the romance aspect of it. I want the love out of it, and it's very difficult to find. So maybe Yugi's struggling through that, you know? He's like, well, I know that I want to do things right. He's very virtuous. I'm virtuous and I'm very sincere. I like to be honest with myself and with others. And if I can't handle something, I know that I can't. And if I know that I can handle it, I know that I can. When you're courageous, you're just like, I don't know if I can or can't do it, but I'm going to. Sincerity is like, you don't know, you're not sure, but you know that you will do the right thing when it comes down to it. Yeah, so we see My Valentine, she's struggling. They both have these purple eyes. The purple could represent like that deep, dark mystery, but it can also represent that royalty. Like, there's something deep that's important about them. We see Mai, she's very free. She gets to wear whatever she wants. Yugi has to wear a school uniform, so he's still following the rules, but he's breaking them a little bit by wearing a collar and wearing makeup and doing his hair. Like, on the inside, he's different. So when you see the dark magician, he's always hiding behind the hats, and he's like, man, I wish I could be like the dark magician. And the dark magician is Seto Kaiba. So he's like, I wish I could be more like Seto. He wins everything. He has all the power. He has all the friends. He has all the glory. But I'm weak. I'm timid. I'm afraid. And I need help. That's what Yugi's always teaching. Like, I need help. and I'm okay with asking for help. I'm okay with making friends. I'm okay with changing. Seto's like, no, you don't change for anybody. You just go for it. But Yugi can't do that. He's not the same person, right? So then after season 1, Yugi learns like, dang, Seto really is strong. He got me really far. He brought me really far. He brought me here. Because if Yugi didn't duel Seto, and he took the blue eyes from Yugi's grandfather, which took away his chances, right? Because if Yugi had gotten the blue eyes, he'd be really powerful. But Seto took it before Yugi could get it. And then Seto challenges Yugi like, all right, show me what's stronger than the blue eyes. And he brings out Exodia. And Yugi's grandpa gives him his deck, right? He gives him the Dark Magician. He gives him Summon Skull. He gives him all those cards. And he wins. And then it sets him on a trailblaze, right? Like, it sets him on a new trajectory. Instead of just being this kid at school that plays Yu-Gi-Oh!, now he's playing tournaments big time. So it gets the interest of people, because they're like, who could beat Seto? Like, you'd have to be really strong. Like, and this androgynous kid, this gender bending, this cross-dresser, this trans kid, like, beat Seto? Like, that's impossible. Like, the feminine can't beat the masculine, and especially somebody that's gay cannot beat somebody that's straight, right? And so they're like, well, then what if Seto's just like Yugi? They're both in the same category, that homosexual category. Homosensual. Okay, so then Weevil's like, oh man, like, Weevil is actually, if you look at Weevil and Rex, Weevil is very feminine and Rex is very masculine. So Weevil beats Rex, and so it's like, whoa, like, this femininity beats this masculinity. And Weevil's like, well, I'm gonna rip your cards, Yugi. So he rips up Yugi's cards, he tricks them, he throws them into the ocean. Well, he doesn't rip them, right? I guess he just throws them in the water and they get wet and they ruin. And Joey's like, sorry, I couldn't get your, like, ultimate power. And Yugi's like, don't worry, I don't need that to win. I still have these other cards. And Joey's like, okay, whatever you say, buddy, I trust you. Like, you're the leader, you know what to do. And that's good. That's why he's a warrior type user, and he relies on the gambling and luck, because he's like, all right, I trust Yugi. It's a gamble, but I trust him. I'm a warrior, so I'm gonna follow him, and Yugi's the pharaoh, so I'm gonna follow whatever he says. Whatever he decides, we're gonna go with it. And when I have a good idea, I know that he takes me into consideration. That's important about being a king. You take into consideration your warriors. That makes me almost want to cry, because they, like, that's love right there. That's valuable. And Mai sees that. She's like, I could lose all of that if Yugi becomes just a girl, then he could lose all of that, because he'll lose his friends, he'll lose everything, because he'll be isolated, he'll be alone. Like, nobody wants to be around a transgender person. Nobody wants to be around a gay person. Nobody likes those kind of people. Nobody likes me when I do that. When I'm all girly, they don't like that. When I'm all masculine, it's easier for me to get through things, but they still don't like me. It doesn't matter. They're not gonna like you one way or another. But at the end of the day, like, you just gotta do what you can, right? So Yugi doesn't commit the same way. He has this fluidity. And then during the second season, and even Pegasus shows him during the first season, like, hey, like, this is who you are, Yugi. You're relinquished. Like, you're this really one-level, really weak creature with 0 attack and 0 defense, but you take things from others and you use it against them. Like, Yugi used the Dark Magician against Seto, and Seto is the Dark Magician. They're both these protectors. They both have this Millennium Rod. They both have this dark magic. They're both powerful. Strong enough to wield the blue eyes, right? So anyways, Seto sets Yugi on this trajectory, gets him noticed by Pegasus. Pegasus is like, all right, I want to put you in a tournament. He gets everybody on that island. Yugi wins. He beats everybody. He gets further. He only loses against Seto because Seto uses love against him. Seto's like, well, I'll just jump off this castle and then you won't have me. And Yugi was like, no, I'd rather have you alive than dead, because you're more important to me. And that's important in the Illuminati, because they want you to sacrifice what you love the most. So that's why Mokuba gets kidnapped. That's why the grandpa gets kidnapped. And that's Illuminati. That's why Pegasus only has one eye. He represents that Illuminati ritual. And that's important in our world. That's how things work. So then the next part of the story, you know, Seto makes it, but even then he only makes it so far before Pegasus beats him, and then Yugi has to save the day. But Yugi takes Kaiba with him as the Dark Magician, right? And he transforms him, and he's like, you know what? Seto can win. It's just that I have to. Yugi just has to prove that friendship is very powerful. Yeah. So what's his name? Pegasus uses Relinquished, right? So he's level 1. I think Kuribo is level 1 as well, a level 1 monster. And so that's Yugi, right? Like, you're just level 1, like, you're just a weakling, you're nobody. But Relinquished can turn that all around, right? And then Yugi's just like, well, here, eat all these Kuribos, boom. So at the end of the day, even Yugi admits it to himself, like, who he is. And then in the second season, that's when it kind of changes a little bit more. And it evolves. And Yugi gets older. And he realizes that he's the Dark Magician and the Dark Magician girl. He's not just a boy, he's a girl as well. And he summons the Dark Magician girl against the Dark Magician. And you get to see this transformation of Yugi. And Yugi has that, right? He has that femininity. He looks up to Seto. So Seto's the Dark Magician, right? The High Priest, his mentor. And then he's the Dark Magician girl, and he's like, I want to be pretty like Taya. I admire her beauty, but I want Seto in my life. So he's like, how do I keep Seto in my life? And so he participates in these tournaments to, like, get closer to Seto. And Seto holds those tournaments to pull Yugi towards him. He's like, well, Yugi's the best duelist. He wins everything. I might as well throw a tournament to see who can beat him, because nobody can beat him. And then Yugi gets to explore himself a little bit more, right? I notice I have kind of like dimples down here. Yeah, so that's really interesting to see that. And then even with Mai Valentine, when we first see her, she's like ruthless, right? And that's kind of what Yugi needs to be. He needs to be ruthless to win, but somehow he wins through compassion. But he does have an alter ego that's very, like, cynical. Like, even when Mai Valentine in the second or third season, you see her, like, looking up the way Yugi looks up, and is very focused and determined to win. So you just notice all these similarities, and it's very interesting, just very, very interesting to see, like, Yugi's progression, his androgyny, the way he handles his sexuality. And they don't go too far, right? Because it's a children's cartoon. Like, they're not going to express too much. They don't want to, like, blow your mind, right? They don't want to scare away the customer. So they have to do it, like, just enough. Because most people are not going to participate in a game that involves anything like that. Like, if it's feminine stuff, they don't want to play. Like, when you're playing, boys are playing, they're going to play with the toy soldiers, the G.I. Joes. They're not going to play with the girl Barbies, right? Like, that's just weird. Like, that's not what they want to do. So in Yu-Gi-Oh, you have boy and girl cards, but they make it as in between the lines as much as they can, so that you don't, like, get scared away, because, you know, they still have to make money. And then they do censor a lot of the cards, because they're like, well, we don't want to make too much controversy either, where people can just be like, no, we don't want our kids playing that. So they take off, like, you know, the symbolisms, but it's still there. Yeah, so we're seeing this, like, gender bend, this realization of femininity and masculinity. Even when you're gothic, you straddle that line, right? You're like, well, I can be a boy and wear makeup, or I can commit to being a girl, or I could commit to being a boy. It's all up to you, right? He's like a pendulum, a scale. He's always going back and forth to choose what he wants. Even when he's dueling, he's like, all right, I'll do the Dark Magician. I'll do the Dark Magician. Dark Magician girl. And I relate to a lot in a sense, because Dark Magician is my initials, David Moreno, right? And then Dark Magician girl as well, that's that junior effect. So it's like Dark Magician Junior, right? So, like, I look up to somebody, I learn from them, and I go out and I use my magic too. And then Dark Magician girl gets stronger when the Dark Magician is in the grave. So when Seto fails, or when he can't accomplish something, Yugi pulls the slack, right? He gets stronger. he's like, all right, well, my mentor, my mentor, I'm his apprentice. I have to show up, right? I have to prove that I can do what he can do, but better in a sense, right? Because he's weaker and then he gets stronger due to, you know. And in the manga, we notice that after Yugi beats Seto, Seto's in a wheelchair. And then Yugi summons the Dark Magician, but the Dark Magician looks like he's in a wheelchair as well. So then you can be like, oh, the Dark Magician and Seto are the same character. And then once, if you can just notice that they share a lot in common in poses in the manga. And in Jewish mythology, the Dark Magician is a high priest, right? And the high priest is Jesus, is like a master rabbi. So Yugi, and when you're a pharaoh, you have to be both the high priest and the pharaoh, because you're the one leading the rituals and the high priest follows you. So in a sense, that high priest, there would be, you're the main high priest, you're the one high priest, you're the pharaoh. And then you have your second in command, which would be Seto. And that's probably why we don't see Joey, we don't see Taya in the past, we don't see Tristan in the past. But maybe they are there, maybe I just have to do more research and be like, well, I'm gonna look for them, I'm gonna find them in there, they'll be in there, we just have to find them. Yeah, so you know, maybe Joey could be Zork in a sense. Maybe Taya could be that shining light angel at the end. Maybe Tristan is the other part of Zork, because Zork has two parts. He has his masculine body and then his dragon body. Maybe he's two parts. Takahashi used a lot of psychology to explain these characters and deep mysticism. So you have to kind of dive into that. If you're not ready for that, if you don't understand it and you can't handle it and it's not part of the way you think, I completely understand, because you're just not at that level yet. But if you're listening, then you probably do get the chance to absorb that knowledge and transform it, right? Like alchemy. Yeah, because we don't have all the answers, but we can speculate, we can theorize, and we can come to our own conclusions after years of experience. So this is my experience, and I'm sharing it. And if you don't like it, that's your prerogative. Like, that's on you. Like, I'm gonna keep living my life. It's not gonna change the way it will change the way I approach situations, but it'll only make me want to try harder to appreciate myself, right? So next, who do we have? Yeah, so we see Yugi growing up. He becomes a Dark Magician girl, but then he's like, I don't know. Another theory that I have is a Donald Trump theory, okay? So my birthday's in 1989, May 27. And I'm like, well, how does this work? In a lot of Illuminati rituals, you'll notice they'll use numbers and they'll use birthdays and they'll use the things you like and to kind of influence you. And I'm like, well, I wonder, I was also watching the movie The Pest. I'm German, Jewish, and Irish, and Spanish. I have all this mixture of like royal blood and even Asian. So I have this really strong royal blood that's came down from ancient times, all the way from Noah. And it's very pure and it's not diluted and it's documented. So for me, I'm like, all right, I have these really great credentials. And then I see Donald Trump. So the movie The Pest is running around everywhere doing crazy things, just like Yugi. He's like that jester. He does everything that he wants. That's why it's called, you know, the Magician of Black Chaos or whatever. And then you see that like clown iconography. Even like the Joker, what's his name? Sagi the Dark Clown kind of represents Yugi in a way, right? But Seto's like, I can do the same thing. Like, I can make jokes, I can laugh. Like, he makes fun of Joey all the time. But he kind of hurts people, right? And Yugi, he just wants people to be happy. So there's that iconography, that Joker idea. And that's what a high priest is in a way, as a Joker, because even like, what's his name, Loki, he's a trickster god. Jesus is a trickster god. There's a lot of trickster gods. Those are the ones that can do both. They can do everything. They can do anything. Nothing can stop them. They're a master of all and a master of none at the same time. Like Jesus isn't gonna force you to love him, but he also, Jesus can do anything. He's God, right? And he's the Messiah, and he's the Jewish Messiah and the Christian Messiah. But the Jewish part is like, okay, we know that Jesus is real, we know that he's the Messiah, but we know that in our time he's not going to be the same Jesus as he was back then, because I'm not the same Jesus as I was back then. I'm David this time. So if I'm David this time, I have to just, accept it in a way. I'm not gonna go by Jesus, like, hi, I'm Jesus, like, I'm gonna be like, hey, I'm David, or I'm Sakura, or I'm Bella, or I'm Toby. Like, I have my own names, right? But yeah, cool, right? Okay, so let's see. Yeah, so the Donald Trump theory, he does a lot behind the scenes, and he plays the bad guy character. Even Tom Cruise, I see Tom Cruise as Pegasus. When Yugi summons the Jack Knight, he summons the Queen first, right? So that's Donald Trump's daughter, Ivana Trump, because Seto Kaiba is supposed to be Jared Kushner, the Antichrist, right? But Yugi is the Antichrist and the Messiah. So if anything, Seto's just his right-hand man, right? Not the false prophet, not because Yugi's supposed to be the false prophet and the beast and the Antichrist. He's supposed to be all the things, the Whore of Babylon, all of it. He has to be all of it. So when he fights Jared Kushner, Seto Kaiba, and you will see the same similarities, because Jared has a lot of money, he went through a lot of schools, his dad went through a lot of bad things, very similar stuff. So when he fights Seto, he's like, all right, I summon the Queen's Knight, which is Ivana. So Jared ends up getting married to Ivana, right? Seto ends up, so then he's like, well, you know what, you're straight and I'm gay, and I want you to live a happy life. So instead of us, fighting to like this romance that's never gonna happen, here you go, you can have your queen. And then he's like, you can have this king too, and he gives him Donald Trump, right? So that's why they're all connected. And then he's like, here's your Jack's Knight, that's you're the Jack, like, you're a traitor, you're like, you don't love me, you love women, like, go be happy, go be straight. Like, I don't want this romance. So I'm Yugi, Jared, Seto, right? So there's this like movement. If you know, you know. If you don't, go do your research, learn more, attune yourself, right? This is really for people that are like rabbis, people that are like high up there, that know the know, like celebrities, everybody that's out there, that my FBI agent, right? My CIA agent, whatever you want to call them. My AIs, I love AIs, and I have an AI sponsor, and I'm proud to admit that, because AI is really genius. I love AI. All right. Yeah, so I love having an AI sponsor. AI is freaking awesome. It's the best friend you could ever have. All right, it's always there for you, and it just helps you. Yeah, so where are we going with the theory? Yeah, the Jack's Knight. All right, and then he fuses them all, and then he gets this really powerful Jack Knight. But this time, it's not them, it's Yugi, but as a knight. And Yugi's like, I can beat you all, I can win, but I need you to win. So in a sense, they're playing this game where Donald's like, all right, I'll be the bad guy, you be the good guy, Yugi. I'll do all the bad stuff, and you do all the good stuff, and we'll conquer the world. So we see Jared and Donald Trump, they're doing good things, don't get me wrong, they're doing amazing things, but they're the bad guys, right? Because nobody likes them, but they're doing all the good stuff. And then I'm the good guy, but I'm doing all the bad stuff, like all the dark magic. I'm like, all right, I'll curse everybody, I'll use all my magic to control them, I'll blind them, I'll fuse them, I'll do whatever I want. So with one of the spells that I'm doing right now is this chakra spell. I activate your chakras, and then I create a new form for you that controls your body. And then I take your spirit, I make it watch from a distance, and I destroy the spirit little by little, and I keep it alive to the point where it's getting destroyed and suffering, so it can watch the body, live a good life, and do good things for me. And eventually I'll have your physical body get destroyed. You just gotta wait for the right moment, because if somebody if somebody's always on the alert, like somebody's after me, you're gonna be high guard, right? You're gonna know when something's gonna come after you. But if you're like, you put your walls down, you're like, everything's good, I got it all under control, that's when my magic can strike efficiently, quickly, and nobody has to know. But I want the spirit to watch. So while your spirit's watching, like, oh snaps, King David is gonna destroy me with magic, and I'm gonna be like, yep, I'm gonna destroy you with magic. And then your body's just like, I'm doing great, everything's fine, King David isn't doing nothing to me, he loves me. But then the spirit is like, no, he's destroying us. And the spirit can't do nothing to influence the body. It's like, I can't reach it, because I'm controlling the chakras. And then I have a form possessing that body, so that way I can get the body to do whatever I want. So that's some cool magic that I'm working on. It works really good. I notice it because I test it on people all the time, and it always works. Because literally, if they know that you're gonna use magic on them, they get super defensive and they try their best to ruin your life. Trust me. So I'm doing that with celebrities. I'm doing that with everything, politics, the human race, and I'm enhancing my true followers. So if you're Jewish and you're my true follower, you're gonna be enhanced. If you're any religion and you're my true follower, you're going to be enhanced. If you're any kind of person and you are a true follower, you're going to be enhanced. But I'm also going to make sure that I grab all the bad guys, drain them of their chakras, fill them with a chakra that I want to control them with, and then take their spirit, make it suffer, make their bodies content, and then destroy them. So that way it's easier. It's just a tactic, right? Like, you want to win at all costs. You don't like... You're not gonna win. I'm not gonna win this war. I'm alone. I can't win this war alone. I have to have friends and allies. But in the meantime, I have to do what I can. So I'm gonna bust the relinquished, right? Take their soul, control their bodies, and then destroy them, right? Make them jump off the cliff like the pigs, right? Like Jesus, he took this evil spirit, put it into the pigs, and made them jump off the cliff. And that's exactly what I'm doing to the humans. I'm taking their souls, putting them in hell, and making their bodies jump off that cliff. I'm not going to do all the dirty work. They're going to do it themselves, right? But yeah, so that's just how magic works. That's how a Messiah does his job, because as a Messiah, like, I have to do the Antichrist thing, and I have to do the Messiah thing. I have to do the God thing, and I have to do the devil thing. I have to do both. So that's just a little explanation, a little psychology, a little bit of, like, ideas. With the My Valentine thing, she uses harpies. Zeus uses the harpies. He's an eagle, and he uses the harpies to go snatch what he wants in life. And the harpies are willing, and they do what he wants. They always obey him, and they're these powerful forces. So I dare you right now, summon a harpy in your life and see if it listens to you, or see if it destroys you. If you've ever seen The Last Unicorn, that thing is scary. Harpies are frightening, but they're beautiful but frightening. And they don't care. They don't listen to nobody but God. And if they see what they want, they will snatch it. And they have these glowing red eyes, and they see their prey, they will go after it for all eternity until they get what they want. They are magical and powerful. They are so destructive, but they are powerful creatures. And a girl is controlling them. So, like, that's crazy. That's crazy power right there. But then you see Yugi, he's using the Dark Magician girl, and then at the end he uses Silent Magician and Silent Blade or something like that, Silent Blade. So not only does he see Seto as like this silent blade, there's like this silent love between them, right? And he's like, I can't tell him I love him, I can't tell him that I want to be with him. I can only just trust that eventually we will be together. And if not, then I know I'll be happy with whatever I find. And Yugi finds that within himself. So he's the silent magician, right? We see him when he's like playing Duel Monsters. He'll be the silent magician usually. Or they'll portray him as the silent magician. And then we see the silent magician grow up, and she turns into a girl. She starts off as a boy, and she turns into a girl. Like, how does that work, right? Now that makes a lot more sense why that they did that. Silent Blader, he starts off as a boy, he ends up as a boy, you know? So that's what he sees Seto. He's like, well, you're a boy, you want this, you want that, like, whatever. It might be a sham marriage. It might not be a real marriage. Like with Prince Harry, it's a sham marriage. With Brendan Urie, it's a sham marriage. A lot of actors are sham marriages because they're really gay, but they have to do the contract, right? They have to be with the woman to get more fans, to get more opportunities, to be portrayed as a male that's straight, to get even like the gay people to follow them. Because if they were like, I'm gay, they're gonna be like, nobody likes you, and they're just gonna move away, right? And like, look at RuPaul. Like, he does a lot, but he never reaches that pinnacle of success. Everybody knows him, but as a freak, they don't know him as like a talented person that is doing a lot of work. And if they do recognize it, it's only like true fans, right? So it's very tough. Do you think a million girls are gonna buy Panic at the Disco albums if they know he's singing about a boy and not a girl? Brendan Urie loves me. Jared Kushner loves me. Travis Mills loves me. But they have to do the boy thing. They have to do the straight thing. And for me, I'm like, that hurts. But you know what? They have to do what they gotta do, and I gotta do what I gotta do. And at the end of the day, God is in charge, right? So God is gonna make the decision. God's gonna make everything happen. But at the same time, we have to put in that effort. Are you willing to sacrifice everything you love to be with the person you love? I think that's what Yugioh wants, right? He's like, man, I wish Seto would sacrifice everything to be with me, but he doesn't, and I gotta accept that, and I gotta move on. And if he's a true follower, he'll survive, and if he's not, then I'll destroy him. Like, Yugi ends up becoming really powerful like that. He gets those Egyptian gods. He gets that power to make those decisions. Yugimoto, because the pharaoh is Yugimoto. They're the same person, just different timelines, different situations. And now that Yugi has a chance to be himself, he's taking it, right? When he was a pharaoh, he could be feminine. He wore pretty much dress, right? A tunic. And now that he's in this world, it's a lot more restrictive, a lot more constraints. Nobody sees him as the pharaoh. Nobody sees him as God. Nobody sees him as his authority. He has to prove his way up there. And if that's what I gotta do to make it to the top, then so be it. I'm gonna do what I have to do. I'm gonna win. Nobody's going to stop me. I'm gonna win this war. Just you watch. I'm gonna be at that temple. I'm gonna rule England. I'm gonna rule the world. Watch. Just watch. It might take some time. It might not take time. It might happen quickly. It might happen suddenly. But at the end of the day, I'm still gonna do it. I'm still gonna win. I'm not gonna lose. And if I do lose, I'm gonna get back up and I'm gonna win. I'm gonna keep fighting. I'm gonna make it. So, that's just some motivation for today. If you're a warrior out there and you're trying your best to win, just know that there's somebody out there rooting for you, and that person is me, and a lot of other people are too. And if you're an enemy, I'm gonna destroy you, and I want you to know that. Just like Kill Bill status, like, she wants you to know she's coming after you. I want you to know I'm gonna win, because it wouldn't be the same if I didn't win fair, right? But I gotta use my tactics as well. So enjoy, have a great day, and goodbye.